Hare Krishna. I'm going to conclude on the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sadly, I always feel bad moving on because there's so much content here. There's so much that we don't have time for. But anyway, this was a overview of the Gita, summary of some verses during the virus lockdown. Now, with many of you, the lockdown has been unlocked and people are moving about. I hope that the virus isn't moving about anywhere near you. Please take care of yourselves. The last part of the 8th chapter is very interesting because Krishna talks about different mystics, yogis, bhakti-jógis as well, and who attains perfection and who doesn't, and what are the different destinations of different yogis. I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Krishna also connects with for those who are dependent upon circumstances and so on, then what are these circumstances that will help them attain their destination, and what are the circumstances that hinder it? And Krishna talks about yogis who have desires for some mystic perfection, to attain some particular goal. They can attain what they want. There are mystics who want to transfer themselves to another planet. Some yogis want liberation, and others want to actually attain Him, which we've spoken about earlier. And I've already read a verse before, which after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So Bhagavad Gita says the highest perfection is to attain Krishna. So in order to achieve these different goals that yogis do, they have to prepare themselves in certain ways. They have to have certain circumstances, favorable circumstances for that. They have to be in a certain place, and obviously they have to be in a certain type of consciousness when they're leaving this world. But Krishna ends the Gita with the last verse because he then addresses, well, what about the bhakti-yogis? Because the bhakti-yogis don't really pay so much attention as to, they're not preparing themselves for leaving this world in any kind of material way. Whatever circumstance they're in, they're all right. They're happy if they can do kirtan, if they can render service to the Supreme and to serve. And the bhakti yogis they're not living off in some remote place. They're living in cities, and they may be working, or they may be employing some other people. So what about these people who are just rendering service because they're not making these particular arrangements and not providing for themselves? Are they going to be bereft of perfection? Are they going to be bereft of the highest perfection? That verse which I just read before, where they actually are able to go to Krishna. So he answers in this verse, and here's the Sanskrit. Vedeshu, Yagyeshu, Tapeshu, Chaiva, Daneshu, Yat Punya Palapratishtam, Atyeti Tat Sarvam Idam Viditva, Yogi Paramstanam Upaiti Chadyam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing severe austerities, performing sacrifices, giving charity, pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So very, very interesting, isn't it? There's a Sanskrit saying, Yasmin Bigyatam Sarvam Evam Bigyatam Bhavati. Translated, it means if you're a millionaire, you've got hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars and tens of thousands of dollars. So if you're a bhakti-jógi, then the benefits of Vedeshu, studying the Vedas, which is Jnana Yoga, doing different types of sacrifices, fire sacrifice, and so many different sacrifices for sacrificing either the ancestors or higher beings, then giving charity. Some people are philanthropists, and certainly by giving charity you get a good result, but what happens if you got nothing to give or very little to give? And engaging in fruitive activities. People want to enjoy this world, and they share the benefits of their activities with others. They build hospitals and so on. So maybe someone who is a bhakti-jógi can't do any of these things, all of these things. So what's his destination? And as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't make all the different arrangements for his liberation. So Krishna says, no. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all of these. He attains the benefit of all, and he reaches the supreme eternal abode. In other words, sometimes the question will arise, well, if I practice bhakti yoga, then, what about the benefit of doing asanas? What about the benefit of studying reading so many other books, esoteric books, and so on? But Krishna says, well, but all of these are meant for a purpose, aren't they? I mean, hopefully they are. Whatever purpose you can attain by doing anything else and by studying or practicing anything else, you will attain by bhakti yoga. Because bhakti yoga is it's the millionaire. It includes everything else. If you've got bhakti, then you can rest assured that the benefits that the Supreme gives to all of these other practitioners are already included in your spiritual practice, and so much more that they will not be able to get. And for that more, next time we move on to the 9th chapter, the middle and most confidential part of the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.